Hi, I'm Matthew Jenkinson and I'm a computer programmer. I'm really excited to tell you about our new program, LedgerLite. The reason I'm so excited is because I know if you take the time to learn LedgerLite, you'll discover it's the best accounting software in the world. We've looked at cloud solutions, but we couldn't find a silver lining, and we've never liked the idea of becoming entangled in the web. So we decided to build our own, and the result was LedgerLite, the world's simplest accounting software. When we first look at LedgerLite, it's not obvious how it works, and there's a good reason for this. LedgerLite has been designed as a real tool to get a real job done in the most efficient way possible. And I'm convinced if you decide to put your accounts onto LedgerLite, you won't regret it in the years to come. Now this sounds like hype, but it's not, so let me explain. LedgerLite is actually better than other accounting software for a number of very good reasons. LedgerLite is simpler than other accounting software because it provides only the features you need to maintain a set of general ledger accounts. There are not a lot of extra program features or options that have nothing to do with keeping a nice clean set of books. LedgerLite is easier to install, use and back up than other accounting software because of its simple design. The entire program is contained in a single executable file which can be copied and run directly from a USB stick. LedgerLite is faster than other accounting software because no internet or cloud services are used. Everything needed is right there on your computer, which means no network bottlenecks to slow things down. LedgerLite is cheaper than other accounting software, and I mean really cheaper. There's an upfront fee of $50 per accounting entity, and that's it. There are no hidden costs. LedgerLite is more reliable than other accounting software because it doesn't require any files or internet services, and it runs consistently on every version of Windows. LedgerLite is more flexible than other accounting software because it doesn't try to dictate to you how you should run your business. You can set up a chart of accounts however you want and choose whatever periods or dates you'd like covered by your reports. LedgerLite is more stable than other accounting systems. Since its release, we've had zero, and I mean zero, bug reports. And you'll never ever be forced to upgrade your software if you don't want to, just so you can stay in touch with your data. LedgerLite is more secure than other accounting systems. The data can be password protected and kept on a USB stick, which means if you run it on a computer that's not connected to the internet, you can actually be 100% confident no one else has access to it. So you say, okay, you've convinced me LedgerLite is better than other accounting software, but I still seem to be missing something. It doesn't make sense. It seems simple, but I still can't see how I'm meant to use it. Well, if that is what you're saying, you still need to discover the key to understanding the true nature of accounting. Once you've grasped this missing piece of the puzzle, then everything else will fall into place. Trust me. What you're missing is a clear understanding of what has come to be known as double entry bookkeeping. Without a clear understanding of the double entry system, you'll always be at a disadvantage compared to those who do understand it and know how to make it work to their advantage. I don't want to go into details because there's a multitude of resources on the internet and our own responsive software website to explain how it works. However, I would like to say a few things about double entry and why I believe it's so important. Essentially, double entry is based on a concept of ownership, of what we call assets and liabilities, whenever these can be assigned a financial value. An accounting entity is someone, it could be a person, a company or an organization, that owns these assets and liabilities and is responsible for managing them in an orderly way. This entity is assigned a financial value which we call equity or net worth, and it's defined to be the excess of the assets over the liabilities. In other words, the financial value of an entity is simply the difference between what is owned and what is owed. And it's only a double entry system that allows us to keep a record of the effect of each transaction on this value. To make it personal, unless we are using a double entry system, we will never really know our true financial worth. And I'd like to demonstrate this for you with a simple example. If we deposit 500 lira into our bank account, our balance will grow by 500 lira. But are we worth 500 lira more than we were before? Well, the answer depends on where the money came from. If it's a loan, the answer is no. Our assets grew by 500 lira, but our liabilities also grew by the same amount, and probably more if we've committed to paying interest or repayment fees. To put it in accounting terms, our net worth never increased and most likely decreased as a result of this transaction. If, on the other hand, the 500 lira was a gift, we are indeed better off, and our equity has increased by 500 lira. It's only a double entry system that allows us to keep tabs on these changes to our financial worth. How much are you worth? How much is your company or organisation worth? And how do you keep track of this important information? Well, you need to use a double entry system. Only a double entry system allows you to keep track of all your assets and all your liabilities. It allows you to remember who owes you money and who you owe money to and how much. And it allows you to record and monitor all your income and your expenses and how they affect your financial position. To get a better understanding of this important subject, there are numerous resources on the internet and in print. The only one I'd like to mention briefly is this book, Accounting Demystified, by Professor Jeffrey Harbour, which we found to be excellent. It's a small paperback that I found a lot easier to read than some of the other larger books I tried before this one. Okay, so much for that. Let's return to LedgerLite, and let me tell you what you can and can't do with it. You can easily maintain a chart of accounts and a general ledger. You can create cash books. You can reconcile your cash books to your bank accounts. You can print reports for any arbitrary date or period. These reports include trial balances, balance sheets, income statements, account statements, cash book statements, account summaries, and ledger listings. You can export any of these reports to a CSV file, which can then be imported into other software. You can import a CSV file into your cash book, for example, a file downloaded from your online bank account. You can maintain an asset register and apply depreciation expenses using either straight line or declining balance formulas. You can attach a scanned image of a receipt or invoice to a cash book entry. You can maintain the books for multiple companies with each company's data in a separate file. You can use any decimal currency with up to 2 digits after the decimal point. And you can set budgets for income and expense accounts and produce income statements that compare the actual and budgeted amounts. There are a few things you can't do with LedgerLite. Because there are better tools available to suit your particular application, we haven't tried to build them into LedgerLite. You can't do invoicing, check printing, stock control, point of sale, payroll, or maintain a supplier or customer database. You can't do real-time electronic interaction with your bank or with your suppliers or customers. And you can't make an arrangement with your electricity or your insurance company to take fees directly out of your bank account and automatically update your accounting system with you having only a cursory involvement in the process. Which brings me to a few fundamental questions I believe we should be asking ourselves. Should our software really be so easy to use that we no longer need to think about what we're doing? Should we let our software do all of our thinking for us? Do we really want our software managing all of our money without our considered involvement? Do we really just want to push a button and forget about it and assume everything is taken care of? Do we really want to be paying someone else to do all of our thinking for us about how to manage our finances? Well, if the answer is no, there is a solution. It's called LedgerLite, the world's simplest accounting software.